Yo, YouTube, what's going on? Back at it again. I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday. I hope everybody enjoyed their Christmas with their family and was able to really have some good time, man, and be able to, share some moments. And I know family sometimes can be hectic. It's like we think that these moments are meant to be able to have fun and come together and enjoy some good food and some laughter and all of that stuff and keep it light or even keep it deep. But I know it's not always like that. Everything's not peaches and cream. What am I talking about? Excuse me. I don't know what I'm tripping on my words today. But I know everything's not always smiles and giggles, So hopefully, if you did have some hard time with family members or some family members you didn't want to see, hopefully y'all was able to come to some resolution or it wasn't as bad as you were expecting to be. And hopefully for those people that didn't have those things, they enjoy their times and maybe that might be in the future. Or life is about challenge, life is about the becoming. But anyway, man, hopefully everyone had a good holidays. Y'all remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell and share. Sharing is caring. If you caring, you sharing. But man, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, y'all. We officially at 126, I think I checked. No, 125. I think it's 125. But I think, yeah, 125 is running. But anyway, thank you. We over 100. Appreciate everybody, every single person that has recently hit that subscribe button, feeling like I'm valuable enough to walk through this journey with me. Be present, be present for me, being able to be present for y'all. So let's get right into it. Y'all know I don't like to waste time. I like to beat around the bush, but I always got to say thank you because I'm super grateful. Y'all see the title, so y'all know how I am. This is something that I'm still working with. So, and I'm wanting to get to the point with these videos to start discussing things with y'all and we work through them together. Like things y'all may be struggling with, we're working through it together. And man, thank you for everybody who's been in the comments. And, I try to be able to be authentic as possible and not copy and paste my responses. And I swear I wish I had all the time. Like I said, I'm a single father, so I'm doing this by myself for the most part. So I wish I had more time so I can just really get in the comments and go back and forth with everybody. But for everybody who I did talk to, hopefully y'all felt that my comments was authentic because it was not copy and paste. It was literally from the heart. But thank you for putting in the comments and expressing and sharing your stories. I really appreciate it. It does not go through one ear and out the other. I'm a very compassionate person, and I think I'm even more of a warrior. And I'm very people consider me to be tough in real life and come off real hard because my goal is to cherish and protect the people who are vulnerable and want to be able to express themselves. And I think the good people get overlooked and they get killed. And bad things happen to good people because they think good people got to be all nice and loving and all of that. And I'm all of that shit too, but I'm also a warrior too. And I'm also a spiritual gangster. And I'm really about that life in real life. So thank you for people for sharing their stories because I really love to hear about them and they mean a lot to me. But like I was saying, being able to walk through this journey with us together, and I want to be able to express certain things that I feel like I'm struggling with and things that I've actually come to and found enlightenment about and hopefully share with y'all. So y'all see the title, Forget and then Forgive to Heal. So in this order too. So it's not the other way around. It's not forgive and then forget to heal. It's literally a reason why I'm putting it in this order. So let's just start off with the first part, forget. I started off with the first part with forget, y'all, because personally in my life, a lot of my mental health problems and the trauma I dealt with in my life, and I had this conversation recently with my mom, and she said something to me, and I'm gonna let y'all know what she said. And if you see this, mom, then man, hopefully you can hear it again based off of what I told you when we was on the phone. But a lot of the things that happened in my life was just me trying to forget slash reprogram what I was taught. Because a lot of what you're taught is not you. It's not you, and it's not your words, and it's not your thought. And depending on where you're at in the world and how you grew up and your upbringing, and y'all seen it, like I said before, it doesn't mean because you're black, you have a hard life. Because you're white, you have a great life. Because you're this, because you're that. I think the line in the box that we all live in is a poverty-stricken box. So if you come from some line of ghetto and some line of poverty-stricken, you have a certain type of lifestyle. If you come from some line of money, but you still have a certain lifestyle. But I think the thing that makes us together is the mental health, because you can be from poverty stricken and your parents still have a good mental health, and you grew up in a great home, and you can come from money and your parents still don't have good mental health and they're not raising you right. So I think the real thing that connects us all is how we were raised with the mental health, and our issues are rooted from that. So I say that to say a lot of the things that I had to learn forget was from the programming. So the forgetting part is like reprogramming your mind, because a lot of the issues that I feel like I've had in my life is because I was so hell bent on making sure that I meet this standard, or making sure I do this, like making sure I didn't break my mom's heart, making sure my mom was impressed, making sure I made my mom happy, making sure, I lived the story that my parents didn't get to live. So I want to live it out. So it's like everything you're doing is you're doing it, but you're driving forward and you're constantly looking in the rear view. So, and it's like, of course your destination is going to get, you're going to get lost, or you're going to be confused when you're driving. If you're constantly driving the car and you're looking up like this, or you're looking in the side rear mirror, you're not going to know where the fuck you're going, because the whole time you're looking back and you're just trying to compare where you're going to where you've been and what you did. It's like, so a lot of times the road to being able to heal is a road not looking from the past to constantly compare to and say, well, my mom or dad taught me this when I was growing up, so I got to make sure I do this way, or I don't do it this way because of this or because of that. And there is no right or wrong to me, because you can do things in two different situations. You can say, I will not do this because my parents did it. And in my opinion, that intention can still be somewhat detrimental and cause some level of mental illness. Or you can do the opposite and say, I will do this because, or I am doing this because my parents did it. Or we do dinner this way because my parents did it. Or we go to this place because my parents did it. Or we follow this religion because my parents did it. Or the people that raised you, because my guardians before me did it. Or whoever took over care of you when you was coming up. So whatever was put before you, you have to figure out a way to, and if that truly does, let's say you go full circle and you just take the advice that I'm saying, or take the enlightenment or the wisdom that I've come to, and you're saying that it resonates with you. Let me put it like that. Let's say you do all of that, and you start trying to find yourself, you start reprogramming, and then you end up still coming back full circle to do what your parents did, then that's just destiny. But intention and the action behind your intention is very powerful, y'all. So that's something that I had to learn. I had to learn to say, you know what? My parents' story was their story. My mom had me at a really young age, and her as a teenager, from the era of babies having babies. My dad had me at a really young age, baby having babies. So even summer while I was with my kids, mom was not 100% like, do it for the children. It wasn't that. I wanted to do it for the whole fucking blueprint. Like, I wanted her and I wanted my kids. I wanted the blueprint. I want to make sure my kids come from one woman, because my dad, I didn't come from one parent. Like, I came from a broken home, and I love my stepdad. I'm glad my stepdad, who's my dad, because he raised me, he was able to, meet my mom in church, and God put them together, which gave me a whole different life. But it's still, no matter what anybody says, and this is my thoughts and my feelings, it still is not the same as if my parents was together. And I had to make sure I had to get that, because my mom got married again and she had a son, and my dad got married again and he had a son and had more kids, and they got to raised in the same house. And it's like, cool, I had a stepdad, but it's still not the fucking same. So I'm the only person who doesn't have that story. So I had to become more enlightened to understand, like, you know what? I can't have my past dictate my present, and my present be a part of why or my present be the real reason for why my future is the way it is. Because it's like, oh, I want to my relationship with my kid's mom to look like this because my parents didn't stay together. Or I believe that I need to think like this because I want to impress my mom growing up so much. Or I wanted to make sure my dad was proud of me because of this. Like, a lot of our healing is because of the things that we didn't forget. So sometimes you just got to say, fuck it. I'm going to forget where I came from to a certain extent, justify myself. And hopefully you can make it out. Hopefully you don't kill yourself and you don't do something that's so detrimental because you're trying to find yourself that you end up losing your life. Thank God I didn't lose my life. And mine wasn't like intentionally like that. I feel like I've always been somebody who had their own mind, regardless of like my mom's influence or anybody, my dad's influence, my stepdad's influence. I've always been a man of one of himself at a really, really young age. Like I'm talking about like 6 or 7. I remember it vividly, going out on the playground and walking around. And at the playground, we would do like the little laps. And I remember coming around and it was like my final lap. And I remember stopping and I was like 6 or 7. And I was like, wow, this is my life. This is my story. And I just looked up to the sky and I kind of like looked down at my hands and I was like, my story is my story. So even being a little kid, my baby pretty much, understanding who I was, I had a grasp on who I was and how I stood out from everybody else. But even then, growing up, the programming that you get at a really young age, you know, especially having a certain type of upbringing. Like, so for instance, I don't know who all my viewers are. I don't know what races y'all are, but like I always can say, I can talk about how I was raised. And I think for Black people, we don't grow up having a voice that we should have, especially Black children. Like I always felt like I wasn't listened to as a kid. And I remember even vividly, recently, my little brother got married and my stepdad's mom, you know, she's my grandma too. She talked to me. She was like, man, I always feel so bad for you when you was little because you would always cry to me and tell me that your parents wouldn't listen to you or people wouldn't listen to you. And I was so grateful for her. And she told me this like a year and a half ago. And I was so grateful because she did listen, you know? So I feel like as Black kids really never really had that voice. So even then, that's still programming for you to feel like as a kid, you had to do what was told to you and you really couldn't shape your own life. And you know, I caused a lot of problems growing up being a rebel, but I'm glad I was a fucking rebel because I was hell-bent on thinking the way I wanted to think. And I wouldn't allow nobody to not let me have a voice. Like it just was not happening. God didn't put that spirit in me. So Mom, apologize for all the pain I caused you, but God know who he made, and he did not put me to be a meek, shy person who just doesn't want to feel strongly or passionate about what the fuck he believes in. But I think for us, we are not healed and we need that healing journey. And the healing journey actually starts by going backwards and understanding the things that it's like you can't remember new things until you forgot the old things because the new things need to be able to fill in a space. And if there's no space for the new things to fill in, then it would just get rejected and go out again. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like a lot of us can't grow and we can't evolve, because the space for our new selves and our new visions and the things that we want to call and claim our own to make us feel loved, to make us feel like, you know what, I know who the fuck I am. It's filled with all of this old programming that, yeah, your mom probably didn't know what she was doing because she was young and it would happen to her, or your dad, he probably didn't know what he was doing because it happened to him too. So a lot of times when you're healing for yourself, you're healing for generations. As people say, the generational curse, the generational trauma and all of these things. Yeah, it's true. But one generation so many generations is just in one person. And I think if we can take the responsibility without carrying the load and making it feel like it's causing mental issues, but take the responsibility and say, you know what, man, how many generations do I have within me? Before me and, well, I'm at behind me and before me. But yeah, before me and after me. And it makes you really start thinking about how much life you want to put into you, because you really can't get what you don't have. So I think that's one of the main things that we have to do. The beginning of healing is being able to forget what you was taught, to at least say what you do know is as much of yourself as possible. And some things, if you feel like they're serving your great, and y'all have to take everything I say with the fact that you do want to become healed and you want to be a person who lives a well life and a person who lives a life of clarity and freedom and peace and happiness and all of these things that I talked about with personal development and self-help, which y'all know that this is what my channel is about, showing health, self-help. And for all those people who have never heard of me before and just coming to me, I want to reiterate again, my channel is about being able to show people how personal development and self-help is directly aligned with prosperity, as in abundance, as in wealth, as in money, as in being able to have the life that you want. Because at the end of the day, you truly cannot have the life that you truly, truly want in 2025 and on without having money. It's just point blank period. Unless you want to go to a country in a village on the Amazon or somewhere in a little temple or something or a tribe, then that's different. But you'll also not have certain things as well. So it's a trade-off. So this is with all of those things in mind. If you are a person who wants to live this personal development whole life, then the way to be able to do that is to start from a place of reprogramming yourself to say, I will forget these things unless they are things that are aligned with this version of myself. This version of myself that I want to become, this version of myself that is aligned with happiness and peace and clarity and just accepting me, even if I'm not fully there, even if I'm, still have a drug problem, even if I'm still overweight, all of these things that are you. But it's not about where you're at, but it's about your level of passion and your obsession with growing to become the person that you do want to be. So I think that's the first thing, y'all. Just focusing on forget what somebody did to you. Forget what happened to you in the past. Changing your programming and giving yourself the space to be able to heal when it relates to time, because that's a time thing. The forgetting is the time thing. And I think once you can understand how to forget it, but not forget it just as in, oh, I just forget it and I don't remember it, because that's not possible. For you to forget something, you have to forget it, but then replace it with something else. It's like the whole idiom of what they say when you're trying to get over your ex, only for girls or whatever. Even guys can, be on the bottom and stuff too. But like the only way to get over is to get under. As in you have to get over your ex, you have to get under somebody else. So it's like, well, that's a replacement. That's not a healthy replacement, but I'm just saying the way to be able to forget, you have to replace the forgetting with something else. So the past programming that you were taught that's not leading you to where you want to be and leading you to this life that you feel like you are who you want to be and you have your own identity needs to be replaced with something else. And the something else can be the things that you think makes you if it is in relation to the self-help stuff that I just mentioned. So figuring out what makes you happy. If you say that traveling makes you happy, then you say, you know what, my mom and dad, they never went anywhere. They never traveled. They didn't do anything. I cannot be like that because I know that this is something that connects me with being happy. Just take a quick little road trip somewhere, maybe for an hour, 2 hours away, get on a bus, whatever you got to do. Like whatever you feel like you got to do, get a bike, ride a bike somewhere, whatever it is, start off small. If you feel like, you know what, in my household, my parents really didn't talk about a lot of different things. Start being more social. You can go in there, join different social communities on Facebook, Instagram, all these different communities they have, just to start off incrementally as far as like replacing it. Because then you'll know, well, this is where I came from, but this is what I'm trying to implement into the new version or who I want to feel. Not even the new version, because this is you, so it's always been there. But this is what I'm trying to bring more into my life of identifying who I am. So that's the first part. The second part of what I mentioned, the road to healing and forget and then forgive, is forgiving. And the forgiving is kind of what I mentioned earlier, because true forgiving is forgetting. Because most people say, oh man, I can forgive, but I can't forget. But it's like, if you can't forget, then you really ain't forgave, because you should replace it with something else so you can forget it. The truth, forgiving is being able to forgive that prior or past programming that was there, knowing that it was there without any effort on your part. Not taking it personal, not saying, oh man, my mom did this and she did this just because she didn't love me, or like, and all those things may have made you not feel love. And that's valid. That is valid that these things happened to you so you did not feel love. But what, in my opinion, I feel is not valid is the fact that it was only about you. Because at the end of the day, it's never about you when it comes from somebody else. It's always about you when it happens to do with you and what you do with yourself. But when it happens to do with somebody else treating you bad, then it has to do with them. So for instance, we can talk about somebody who the world just thinks is a devil. We can talk about, let's say, even Adolf Hitler. I think about some of the most wicked people in the world, y'all. I really do. And I think about, like, you know what? Once upon a time, that was somebody's baby too. So, like, what about that story? And this is coming from a black man. You know what I'm saying? I think about all the slave owners and people who did all the most wicked stuff in the world. And I'm like, you know what? That was somebody's baby too. So before they grew up to become that thing, they was pretty much perfect. They didn't know. So, and we can talk about all the spiritual stuff. Well, they was born to be that person and spirits was put in them and they knew who they was, all of that shit. Well, before all of that, they was shitting in diapers and their mama was wiping their ass. So I'm saying that to say, to not take it personal, for you to be able to forgive and say, well, your parents might have may not feel you love. Your mom may have raised you this way. Your dad may have raised you this way. This person might have been absent. This person might have did this or said this. But you know what? Once upon a time, they was a child too, and they had to go through the motions of their level of healing, and they had to go through the things that got them to where they're at, and then that just translated and came upon you, and it's just a cycle, and it's a cycle. But for you to be able to forgive is allowing you to set yourself free from any resentment that you have for somebody else, so you can replace that. Because if you have that resentment, you still aren't replacing what you want to identify as with the thing that you were programmed, because you still have a connection to it. Because the only way that you can have a connection with something is you have to focus. And to not forgive somebody, you have to focus on not forgiving somebody, because you have to constantly you have to consciously hold a grudge. You can't just unconsciously or subconsciously hold a grudge. Like, it's a conscious thing. And if it feels like it's subconscious, it's because you've been doing it for so long that it's a habit to you and it's natural, but it's still a conscious thing. It's just how we work. It's how people work, because that's an energy. It takes a real, like, a awareness to be able to have that energy towards somebody. The exact same way when you happy, you aware that you happy. Like, well, this person is making me feel this way. And you, before you even exert it out and they receive it, it's already inside of you, and then it comes out. The exact same way when you have something towards somebody, it's like, oh my God, they just fucking fucked me over. They did some things to me. And it starts from the inside and it comes out, and they see it, and it deserts out into the rest of the atmosphere, into the universe, and people receive that and they grab that energy. So I think being able to forgive will give you a better look on the past, because there's no way that you can't forgive in the present, because it already happened. A grudge is an energy that is in relation to something that happened in the past. Like, nobody can hold a grudge for some future shit. That just doesn't, that's impossible. You can't, like, hold a grudge because you don't know what's going to happen. You only hold grudges towards things where you feel like you were wronged. So you will never free yourself, and you will never be healed if you're not letting go of the thing that you're holding a grudge towards, because you're staying connected to that thing and it's in the past. That's just quantum physics on the most basic level to me. I just had a thought, y'all. I was like, that's coming from a dude who has a whole bunch of quantum physics book, right? On the most basic level. I'm silly. But that is the part that will really, really allow you to take the weight off of your shoulder. That allows you to take the weight off of your shoulder, for you to be able to say, you know what? This is not about them. This is about me. This is not about how my parents raised me. This is not about that ex that did me wrong, or that friend that talked bad about me and I swear they was my friend. This is not about this person who broke a promise. This is not about them, because that's their role. And this just made me think about something else. I'm gonna give y'all something else. We're gonna have a whole nother video, y'all, about people's roles, and you're not getting upset because of what somebody done. So that's just a hint. I need to watch this and take this note down. For the record, y'all, I put all of my YouTubes down on notes and my YouTube ideas. I might just be thinking one day, I'm like, oh, that's a YouTube idea. I want to share that with them. Hopefully they think this is good, because I really be thinking about y'all. So yeah, I'm gonna watch this over and do that. But yes, be staying tuned to this roles, y'all. This roles concept that I thought about probably about 6 months ago, and I think I posted on my IG too. Yeah, so y'all can check me out too. Words by Waters, WORDSBYWATERS, which I know that probably sound crazy. It's in the description. Y'all can follow me on Instagram as well too. Tap in, and be able to take the weight off your shoulders, y'all. So I feel like I got my point across. I don't know how I am. I don't like to get long-winded, but It starts off with being able to forget. And the forgetting is the part that you need to understand so you can reprogram yourself. So you can stop thinking the way you thought for so many years because it was put upon you. It was putting you as a child. It was putting you as even a teenager, as a young adult in your 20s, and it's just coming from left and right. And you kept attracting these type of people because in the beginning you couldn't accept that you were born. You can't pick the place you were born. You can't pick the people that you were born by, saying your mom and your dad. Those are things you can't control. And then if you have a bad idea about those things, subconsciously you will be attracting more people like that because you're going to be having that energy towards those people because you're going to have in your mind. You get what you focus on. So if you have grudges, if you have hatred, if you have some resentment towards even your parents not being around, you're going to get more people that are going to abandon you, and you're going to get more energy that's like that. It sounds so fucking crazy and it sounds so unfair, but once you understand the ways of the universe, it starts making more sense to you. And you start understanding, like, wow, it's not even about them. It's about me. Because when they're dead, you're still going to be living. And if you still have resentment towards a dead person, who do you think is going to be affecting the most? If you still have hatred towards a dead person, who do you think is the one that's really going to be hurt? They're already dead. They live their story and their journey in this life. Whatever happens after that is they got to figure that out, and you won't know what's going on with that until it's your turn to die. So at the end of the day, you really holding the weight down for yourself. So that's why being able to forget and reprogram yourself, and then allowing yourself to forgive anything that was before you so you don't have grudges, because grudges is a thing of the past, and allowing you to open yourself up to be able to heal. And then you have the reprogramming, it's gone. You get your own identity. And this is the part that I want y'all to get. You get your own identity, and once you get your own identity, you start learning to take more responsibility for yourself because you become free, you become independent, you become empowered, you become strong. Because that's what we all want to do. When you're a little baby, you feel so secure. If you feel so insecure, you feel so scared, you attach to mama's leg, attach to daddy's leg, attach to grandma's leg, grandpa, whatever your guardian is. And a part of you wants to be balanced and wants to be free because that's who you are as a spirit. But because you're in this flesh and you're little, you don't know how to connect those two. So our whole lives, we're fighting to get this independence that our spirits have because we're bigger than our bodies, even when we're little babies, because of what our spirits are. And you're trying to figure that out. And then once you have all these people put all these ideologies on you, because in reality, they just want to take care of you because they know that you're little, but indirectly they're controlling you and they're programming you, and they just really want to take care of you if they're taking care of you. And I know that's not everybody's situation. I know some people grew up with very bad upbringings, and like that shit breaks my heart. But for those people that did have that, hopefully people did at least have somebody, your auntie or somebody, to be able to at least show them that childlike love that all children deserve to have. Indirectly, people end up programming you instead of cultivating you. And it's just a part of the game, because a lot of times when you're raising children and you're trying to cultivate somebody, there's no way that you can't put little jewels and seeds inside of their heads. Unfortunately, some of the seeds aren't right because they're being from people who has bad fruit and bad roots. So it's just going to be like that. So hopefully y'all understand. This is what I've learned from my life to be able to really thrive on the healing journey. And like I said, I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. Oh yeah, and I didn't tell y'all the thing. So I forgot. I didn't tell y'all the thing that me and my mom had talked about. So we was on the phone one day, and I was talking to my mom about life, and she's, I'm pushing 40, and she's always asked me like, are you dating anything? I've never been married. I was with my kid's mom for a long time, but we never did the marriage thing. And I don't know, I guess, I know I'm her son, obviously, and I guess she's just wondering like when it's gonna happen. But she's always been like that. Always been like, and I've always been who I've been. Like I told you, like I promise y'all, the older I get, the less I know how to lie. So I just be super transparent. And I've always been like a focused person. I never really liked dating, like throughout my whole life. Of course, the Scorpio in me is hard to not be able to be with some woman in some form, honestly. But I've gotten better at that for sure. And I've always been, I think, better than a lot of men who are like me, because the fact that I am focused and I want what I want and I want the life the way I like it. But my mom had asked me in our most recent conversation, as she always does, being a mama, she asked me like, are you dating anybody? You see anybody? And I hit her with the normal situation. No, mom, focus on, getting my career the way I want to get it to, all these goals that I've been telling her since I was a little kid. And she's like, son, she's like, you know what? All these years you used to tell me this, but it just now hit me. And I felt so happy when she said that, because for years she didn't listen to me. She didn't listen. I would tell her, I was like, Mom, I just want to be able to make money. And she would have something to say like, well, you can still make money and take girls on dates and da da da. I'm like, Mom, you really can't. If you to get to where I want to get to be able to have the amount of money that I want and to help as many as people that I want, you can't. You can't do both. You know what I'm saying? And really be able to show up and be present for her in a relationship the way I want to be present. And that's what she said. She was like, well, I finally get it now. I know that you're somebody who likes to be involved when you're in a relationship. You like to really show up and be there for the person that you're in a relationship with. And you can't do that and fully be committed to being an entrepreneur and having a really, really successful career and making all the money you want to make. And I was like, Mom, I'm so glad. Like, you don't know how healed I felt when she said that for us, because like she didn't get it. And for these many years, like I said, I was just trying to impress her and get her to understand all these years for these, and I did a lot of things as far as even with girls and just taking roles in relationships kind of with her in the back of my mind, like, man, maybe I should go on a date with this girl. Maybe I should, but in reality, I really didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? So y'all gotta realize like that programming is strong, y'all. And y'all have to understand how to break away from the programming and stay honest and stay true. Cause look, lo and behold, I went through some different things that I did because my mom's meant programming in my head. But years later, she finally be like, "Oh, okay, I get what you're saying now." And it's like, damn, I'm glad you get it now. But but I forgive her. I forgive people. That was her. Like, you know what I'm saying? So everything I say, y'all, has an example to it. It's a real life situation, a real life application to it. But I just want to share that with y'all, because I'm telling you, when she said, I was like, wow, she finally get it. I've been telling her for years, bro. Like, and she's like, yeah, I get it. You just such a focus, and I'm so proud that you so focused and all of these things. And because I really be like that. I'm talking about since early 20s, late teens, y'all. Mom dudes like, like, you're such a good looking guy. And the mamas are gonna do that to their sons. And like I said, I forgive her because she's doing what she's supposed to do. That's her role. That's who she's supposed to be. And I'm not gonna spill too much on the whole little role thing. But yeah, y'all, hopefully this helped. Please understand to forget what you were taught if it is not aligned. Like, forget, just wipe it out and don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, y'all. Do not feel bad about forgetting shit that came before you that is not aligned with who you want to be. If you gotta, I don't know if people are religion, if you gotta meditate, if you gotta pray, if you gotta talk to somebody about it, if you even have to one day just say, fuck it, and might have to curse just to get it out, then get it out so you can't forget about it. So you can forget about it and give yourself the ability to reprogram yourself and give yourself, like they say with Apple, I'm an Apple fan, I'm an Apple user. So you can give yourself an upgrade, a new operation system. And then this operation system will have more of who you are. And then you can take a little bit of the jewels that was taught to you and a little bit of the programming that was given to you, if they align with you, and you can move on and you can go through this healing and just forget what happened, but also forgive anything or any transgressions that came because of these people still having to go through their emotions and play their role. So like, subscribe, share, and this Karen. Thank you for all of my 125 subscribers, y'all. We're going to get this thing to 200, 500, 1,000 and beyond. And hopefully I'll be able to have way more time to be able to get in these comments with y'all. I have the website, jbwaters.com, coming, being able to get in there, have some real Zoom links. That's my goal. I want to have some Zoom links, get one-on-ones with people, be able to just discuss everything from personal development to personal finance to mental health, to make sure that we're on the winning side. And the winning side is being able to live the life that you love. And yes, you're not a loser, but you are losing if you're not living a life that you love. And that just is what it is. But you're not a loser, but you are losing. So we can get there together, y'all. So enjoy the rest of y'all week. I should be tapping in, probably not tomorrow. Maybe the day after that, y'all should see me. I got another video coming up for y'all. And I'm trying to get to the point where I can make one every day, but I like it to be organic. I really want it to be something that just can hit home for y'all. So y'all remember to stay conscious and be well, stay conscious, and write your world into existence. Love.